Okay, hello everyone. So a continuation of our session, continuing with the questions, going on question number 19. And question number 19, let me just find my pen. Funny how I'm always looking for the pen here, the pencil. Right, number 19. What is being configured there? So what we have here is creation of a switch visual interface. We add an IP address to the visual interface. We enable the link. So basically what is being configured is a switch visual interface. We mentioned the SVI being there to allow a remote access of the switch, the router, the firewall, whatever it is, the device you're trying to connect to. So without an IP address, no, it's only for the switch. It's the switch visual interface. It's not for routers. We don't have SVIs because they have interfaces that has IP addresses. So the switch, for us to create, to assign IP addresses to the switch, we create the switch visual interface. And basically that is what 19 is. 20, which key combination allows a user to return to the previous level in the command hierarchy. So for that one, let me hide the video panel. Let me see. So all of them, they return to the previous level, not all of them. Control C gets you back to the user exec, the privilege exec, I mean. Control Z gets you back to the uh, privilege exec as well. And there is some modes where end doesn't get you back. And the correct answer here is exit. The question might sound, even the answers, they might sound like they are all correct. Question here, which command allows user to return to the previous? So meaning if I'm in the global configuration mode, if I go to the previous, I go to the privilege exec mode. If I go to the previous, I go to the user exec mode. So probably if I was in the interface configuration mode, I go to the previous, I go to the global, I go to the privilege, then I go to the user. This is what exit does. If I use Control Z and Control C, for example, if I'm in the interface configuration mode and I press Control C or Control Z, I'll go directly here to the privilege exec mode. So, which is not what the question really wants. So that's the difference between those commands which allows us to go back. Right, number 21. What are two characteristics of RAM? RAM is volatile. So when we talk of type of memories, we have mainly two types. We have a lot, but at this stage, I think we mention of two types of memories. We have the RAM, then we have the NVRAM. The difference between them, one is volatile, one is not volatile. Then we have something to do what it stores. One, this one stores the running configurations. This one stores the startup configurations. So here we have the run, here we have the start. The startup configurations being the configurations we have when we boot up our device. The running configurations are the current settings that you apply on a running device. Those are called the running configurations. Then from that, we can, I think, then go to finding our answers. This one is correct. RAM is no. This was an incorrect. RAM is not volatile. RAM is not volatile. So we have, this is wrong. Configuration that is actively running on the device stored on the RAM, correct. Contents of RAM are lost during a power cycle, correct. Why are they lost? Because they are volatile. So if you reboot, then the running configurations, they are lost. RAM is a component of Cisco switches. RAM is a component of both. RAM is able to store multiple versions of the iOS in the configuration files. This is what the NVRAM does. More specifically, we have what we call the flash, which stores the operating system. All right, 22. Which two host names follow the guidelines? I had a student ask me this question, I think just yesterday. When we talk of guidelines, these are simple questions. And guideline number one, no spacing. I think that's the easiest one to recognize. It should not have spaces, meaning we automatically eliminate this one. We should not have spaces on our on naming host names. So it's either Onesaka dash, for example, this one. I can't Romeo. Onesaka dash, which is okay. Right. Then number two, to eliminate the being of BR. Which two host names follow? So two that are correct. So this one is correct because it has no spaces. That this one is incorrect. This one is also correct. No spaces. This one is incorrect. Why? This one is also incorrect. This one is incorrect because of spaces. It contains spaces. Why are these ones incorrect? I just need someone to respond whilst I sit it down here. Wait, Inzui.
I think A is incorrect because it doesn't specify which device it is.
Which device?
Mangwa yanonya tutaroti ma switch.
No. So
Uh,
ndikaenda
I
packet
think I can
tracer,
answer that.
okay, just a minute. Ndikaenda packet tracer, for example, ndogona noassigna host name yangu ndoiti HHP kana ndoiti silence. It does not specify which switch it is. So that answer is no. Someone else wanted to respond.
Yeah. I think not I think per Nigrin, per my host name, Padima special characters like that what's that? It's not a question mark. We don't use my Nigrin.
Exclamation.
Okay, exclamation mark.
No.
We don't use my special.
No again. No. Do we not have we can use this is a character, for example, this is a special character Kadesha. We can even underscore, I think we can use underscores or well, but you are very close. When naming my devices, you cannot you either start with a letter and end with a letter, or you end with a number. You cannot end it with a special character. So this one ends with this one ends with this. That's the problem. That's where the problem is. So naming conventions, I think roughly in short, we are saying no spaces. I think this one is easy. No spaces, then it does not end with a character like this. It either ends with a number or a letter. And basically, that's it. 23. How is SSH different from Telnet? Simple. SSH sends encrypted commands. The other one sends plain text. SSH makes connections over the network, whereas Telnet is for out-of-band access. No. SSH provides security by encrypting messages. Telnet is considered insecure and sends messages in plain text. This is our answer. Right. Papa, I want to introduce a thing to do with when we say out of band. I think I had a couple of students recently as well. I was asking about what does out of band mean and what does in band. So when we say an out of band connection and we say an in band connection, what does that mean? For example, here, out of band access. What does that mean? Out of band, in band. Because it's terms like these which makes them, they shut down, confusion, get lost, but they are simple terms actually. What does that mean? Any guys in telecom, actually I know them. Tatenda, na Joyce, Ron in telecom, we should know what out of band and in band means. Even Isaac, I think you are there.
Out of band, I think it's a remote access. In band, it's a local connection. That's what I think.
Pause. Anyone with another try. Or explain. So it's the opposite actually.
For me, I think the out of band is where we can use a different network to connect, and then in band is where to connect on the same network remotely.
Right. Nonyasons, what repeat? What did he?
That out of band, it's such fun connect. We can connect using a different network. For example, to switch radio maybe ripa network you connect. This also we can use tier 1 and then in band. So kuti tier phone kushandisa network 1 kana iri connect both the router iri nekwandiri kuno panongoshandisa the same network.
She apply logic idzodzo pa connections dzedu. If we want to get access to the switch, we can either use an in-band connection or an out-of-band connection. She apply logic idzodzo pa switch, then or in terms of access methods with out of band the EP and in-band name.
Okay. And if SSH Telnet, they're saying they use in-band connection, meaning what I think anofana ari kushandisa the same network. Handizonyatsoziva hangu kuti how, but ndo zvatinokwanisa kungoziva, and then the other one ndio inozoshandisa out of band, I think.
Right. So when we talk of in-band and out of band connection, basically it goes like this. Let me see. Right. So if I have a device, this is my switch, this is my PC. This connection is a copper straight through. Meaning, before I go to meaning, can I get access to the switch using a copper straight through? Yes or no? Can I get access to the switch using a straight through cable? Hey, bana. Right.
No.
That's it. Yes or no? That's it. No.
Yes. I go down to no.
No. Right. So Patuma connections are console and straight through. I can get access to the switch via the straight through. I can also get access to the switch via the console. And at console, it is straightforward. I think when you are using SSH, connection yako it is made via this cable. When you are using SSH, when you are using console, access yako is via that. So both of them can be used. But because initially when we started my configurations, we initially configure using the console. So initial setup, via the console. After, you can then probably create an SSH connection, create your switches and SSH connect your switches and SSH client. Then, if it is an SSH client, you can then access from this PC without the need of this. Via the straight through, get a connection via SSH, you get access. So you can. When we started, we said you cannot. I think now I'm going to reduce that. Can go to 1 minus 2. It can't at some point, but the negative 1. So at the beginning, takati console chete ndinoshanda. But kumberi, you're going to realize that that connection is straight through. We can also use it, provided switch radio has been configured as an SSH client. That said, panopinda in band, the connection ripa switch panap rikushandiswa for connecting to the network. The port, the interface ripa switch radio rikushandiswa to connect to the network. If it is the same as the connection, ichashandiswa kuti access to the switch, then that is called in-band. So in this case, kana ndiri kuda kuwana access to my switch, can I do this? Right. So switch radio tatanga tine PC bana. So connection it up. Do you understand for the network? It will port up. So if I want to connect to another PC, for example, I use connection here. I use this connection. That same connection is the one which is used to get access. If that is the case, in the case here SSH, in the case here Telnet, then it's called in-band because we are basically using the same interface on the same network to get access to the switch as well as communicating between my devices. It's the same interface is being used, same network, in-band. Now out of band, ukayoga is a console app. Console it is never used for communication purposes in the network. It's not part of the network console. So it's another channel dedicated only to get access to the switch. That's why it's called out of band. Is it making sense? Before I proceed, is it making sense? Out of band, in band. Because I know question ikangoya yakakuti out of band. Under confusion. Is it making sense that I explain? I need to know. If not, please explain in band again. Right. I like that one. So I'm saying initial configurations on a switch radio, initial setup. If I want to get access to that switch, ndinoshandisa console. Okay. Sorry. So initial configurations, I use console. That's a console cable. If I want to get access to this, console works perfectly. The reason why I don't use, for example, another PC here, which is straight through. The reason why I don't use that is because if this is not configured as an SSH client, I cannot use straight through. So initial configuration on a switch, I use console. Right. So those are the two ways that we can use to get access to the switch. Yeah, let me mute a couple of people. Two ways that I can use to get access to the switch. One via the console, two via SSH. Right. That said, when we talk of out of band, I think let's start with in band. That's the easiest one. In band means if you are getting access to the switch using a connection, using an interface, using a port that is also used to connect to the network, then that is in band. So if I want to get access to the switch using one of its ports, and that port is also used for connecting to the network, then that's in band. If I'm using a port that is not connected to the network, then it's out of band, don't engage in the console. So in summary, I can say port width, just a minute. Okay, so in summary, I'm saying port used same as that used for network. So if I connect to a port or an interface that is also used to connect to the network, then that's in band. If I connect to a port that is not used by the network, then that is out of band. So console, you never connect a console to the network. Console is never part of the network. Console is another interface outside the network. Again, is it making sense? Yeah, this is the last time. I hope it makes sense. Let me continue. I've muted everyone. Yes, thank you. All right, let's move. Let's move a little bit. So how is SSH different from Telnet? I think we answered this one. It's something to do with encryption. SSH is encryption, whilst Telnet, it's plain text. 24. Match. So that's another question. I think I mentioned the type of questions we have: single answer, multiple answer. Then we have do we have true or false? I think it's Huawei, which is true or false. We also have matchmaking answers like these ones. So to match, in what order will the commands an administrator is configuring a switch console port with the password? In what order will the administrator travel through the modes to reach the mode in which what? So can Android configure the switch console port? Obviously, tinotangira panapa. Ndipo tinotangira toyamo privilege, toyamo global, topeza tiri panapa. Those are the four answers. We never get into the interface configuration mode for that. Simple. What are the three characteristics of a switch visual interface? Number one, designed as a security protocol to protect switch ports. No. A switch visual interface is created to get access to the switch remotely. That's it.
Sir,
Yes.
for number 24,
Yes.
how do we answer such a question?
Right. Question.
Right.
And for right, I think you need an account ASAP. So my questions are at PDF. I got them. I copy pasted from the account. So some of the nice graphics ziripo pa account I cannot copy paste it per PDF. So usually gonna kuya ine ma-answers sezvaari aya, then unenge wakuhighlighta or matchmaking kuti iyi kune 1 2 3 4 oti iyi ndo number 1, it allows you to do that by way. Number one, this is number two, this is number three, this is number four. So it's two graphics you need to go nice on your account, which allows you to do that. About a question, I once we are into graphics, you get what I'm saying? Or you can click by account mango answer yes I do is the circle down circle out unongo click my answer which to find so the question it was just difficult could it is any graphics there up and basically that's it. Right.
I get it now.
What are the three characteristics of a switch visual interface? So that it has nothing to do with security. It is not associated with any physical interface. Yes, it is associated with a visual interface. The opposite of physical here is visual. Right. It is a special interface that allows connectivity by different types of media. No. It's a visual interface. You cannot connect media on a visual interface. It is required to allow connectivity by any device at any location. Put a question mark here. It provides a means to remotely manage a switch, correct. It is associated with VLAN 1 by default, correct. By elimination, that answers out. But I still want to look at this answer and see why it's wrong. It is required to allow connectivity by any device at any location. Why is that one wrong? Yes. I cannot figure out why it's wrong, but it is wrong. I don't, without wasting much time to the paper, I think this is another way of studying as well. Don't only look at answers and guess or get the right answers are correct. Also look at the wrong answers and try to figure out why they are wrong. For example, this one, why is it wrong? Because the switch visual interface, we can connect from any device if it is if the switch is reachable by any device, then we can connect. If it is configured as an SSH client, then we can connect. Probably you're not getting me, but that answer is a bit in my gray areas around. But anyway, continue.
Sir?
Type visa by elimination, that one. Yes.
Your move is by elimination. Don't you need to be in the same network or channel with the
No.
switch to connect by?
No, you don't. You don't. You could actually connect to a switch relay to Europe or Japan because the internet is a big network made up of many networks. So you don't necessarily need to be in a local area network per se. You can in a remote network. So at any location, you can get access to your device. That's why I was asking, why is this answer wrong? I couldn't figure it out, but don't talk about. I think I want to know two down. Right, 26, let's move a bit. What command is used to verify the condition of switch interfaces, including the status of the interfaces and the IP address? Show IP interface brief. Show commands, they are very useful. I hope Murita Malabs. If you continue doing theory, and you're not doing Malabs, I smell trouble Bambirapo because at the end you have my skills assessments, animal labs and all. And if you do not start this early with animal labs, it's not gonna want this. You should have it was actually my labs I got one day. So at every chapter, I think chapter 1, 2, and 3, animal labs. Then chapter 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think animal labs as well. So you need to look at those labs. If you do not have them, dog is right. For those guys on my accounts, I think you can see my labs in Yari paper up as well. Right, we move to right. I was talking about my show commands. Show commands are very, very important per network configurations. Why? Because if you know how to interpret my show commands, it allows you to see where the problem is. Show commands is basically saying, show how the network is running, show the configurations, the repo, show my settings. So from analyzing my settings and repo, you can see that this setting is wrong. Or by showing probably the set of IP addresses configured on my interfaces, you can see that this IP address is wrong. So show commands, they're very important. Every time we pass by show command, take note of it, or onboard track, whether it's per lab, packet trace, or whatever it is, and see what information it gives you. So for example, I think the one that takatanga kuita is show running configurations. And guys, I show running configurations, you will be able to see that my host names are assigned and the app password you are assigned and yakaita say our encrypted my passwords are binary repo switch virtual interface, the IP address and the default gateway is just as my console passwords. So you'll be able to see that by using the show running configurations. Then for example, ukaona device rako siri kuconnect remotely, ndikanisa show run yangu pandiri kutarisa ndikunotarisa kuti default gateway iripo here. Default gateway kana iripo, then we have another problem. But kana isipo, probably that's the problem. Yeah, default gateway. Right. Let's move to question 27. All right. And my question, I think for this one, I pasted the image in the carousel. So most of the times you just click this end or click at the other end. You click up or click up. Line something like this showing that's how you are measuring things. So for this one, let's see match what? Match the description associated with the iOS mod. Right, changes made affect the operation of the device as a whole. I am a configurations of global. Let me just highlight here. Someone highlight say, oh, yo. Right here. All right, hapo maansa kateswa hapa. Why bother? Maansa kateswa. So a limited number of basic monitoring commands use exec ndweni izvozvo. First entrance paunopindira use exec, accessed by entering the enable privilege, identified by the hash prompt privilege. Pamansanga kateswa kudaro. Changes effect of the operation of the device, global config, accessed by entering the configure terminal command, also the global config. Another one, match the definition to their respective CLI hotkeys and shortcuts. Provide context to a sensitive help, question mark. Provide context to, question mark. Okay, so question mark, or you're trying to configure. How many minutes do I have? 2 minutes. I think I can still do something. My shortcuts are very important. and my configurations are quite a bit quick. So provides context sensitive help. For example, ukaenda global, ukaenda privilege exec, ungoti enable let me try to configure this this router. That you own. I think switch router on. No, okay. No. All right. So ndikaenda a question mark up. Inandibuditsira kuti what can be done in the user exec mode. Inonzi yakanzi sensitive what. Or for example, ndikaenda ndikati en, there's a question mark. It completes for me. It doesn't complete, but it tells me what you can get from there is enable command. So basically, that's how the question mark is used. So now, warasika, always use the question mark in Kuzosa passport. Right, I can see we have less than a minute there. We can have another session, probably 10 to 15 minutes left, I think. We can have another session. Do not know once or push among my questions here. Join using the same link.